neighborhood, you know, whatever. Don't have an intro for this channel, this project I'm working on. And, honestly, I'm like this close to actually being finished completely with the project, so I thought I might as well shoot the first video right now before the end of the project, and then have the next video be in the actual set that I've been working with. I've been doing some stuff. So what is this project that I've been doing? What is this? Well, I've been wanting to move in a new direction with YouTube. I do like gaming, but it's not that I don't like gaming. It has nothing to do with that. It's more of a, I think I have more, I have other content that I wish to create, and I would rather have my YouTube channel dedicated to, um, I would rather have my YouTube channel dedicated to other content, so that way I'm not so, you know, stuck in one place with the content I create and what I can put out and what I can't put out and the type of audience I have. I don't want to just be stuck in one place. I know technically I don't have an audience on YouTube. I do have a semi-audience on Twitch. It's not very big. It's fairly small. So I understand this is like, oh my god, what the fuck? You don't have fucking anyone to talk to, man. Whoops. Totally didn't mean to cuss. Holy fuck. Happened again. Whatever. But yeah, I was thinking maybe I would do more news-oriented subjects. Just like a like a news, but it's not news in the sense that like, oh my god, I only care about like. Fuck, this is hard. Like, news, but not in the sense that I only care about content, like topical stories or like very trending subjects. It's more of like a news in that I make content about stuff that is going on, that is happening, and that is coming, in a sense like doing little like snippets of like what animes are coming this fall or spring or summer or winter, or what's new in the tech world, or you know what games are coming out and what games that have come out, what are the reviews like. So that's mostly what this project right now is. I do plan on doing more other types of videos. I have some more projects that I have in the works. I do want to create some other like artistic artwork. I do want to do some more, like I do want to create some films, short films, whatever you call them. I do want to do that, and I do plan on doing them. I still working the kinks out on all those, so that will be something that once I actually have done and I've already got everything planned and everything, then I will follow through and I will make that. So let's get into it. So for this month, which is now for you, it will be October. For me, it is still September. So we haven't just yet reached the mile mark of October yet, but I still have news for October. So recently, if you all know, the hit game Cyberpunk 2077 had an anime released around the idea of the game. Like, an anime released within the same world as the game, and then after the anime was released, CD Projekt Red is going to be making a DLC based off of the Cyberpunk cyberpunk edge runners anime, and there's a lot to say about it. It's been quite a hit. It received quite a good. It's received a 8.6 out of 10 on IMDb, so it's a really good anime in the terms of it's not just another piece of shit anime that's made to make a game look better, even though Arcane, which was League of Legends, that was pretty good. What other game? It's Castlevania. I want to say Castlevania is the best, but it's still okay. I wouldn't call it a bad anime. So, yeah, the anime itself also has created a new fan out of a someone that's pretty high up in the gaming world and culturally significant person named, and the anime has sort of popularized the game again. It's revitalized it in quite a significant way. The game has hit a peak of 1 million online players recently, and it has also had official release for like supported mods. So it's officially there's mods are now officially supported within the game itself, and so there's been a few mods that have that's come out recently, and one of them is there was a mod trying to add the villain of the anime series, the protagonist, and so it's been quite a revitalization. It's been quite needed. When the game came out at the very beginning, it was a steaming pile of garbage, let's say the least, and it really was quite criticized because it had such a momentous and hyped release, and it wasn't able to really deliver on any of its promises. So that's pretty. It's alright. It's okay. And they've done quite a bit of work in the game. I wouldn't say the game's perfect now, but I would say it's now a much better game than it was at release, which is something that it's sad, but that is becoming a trend in the gaming world and in video games recently, is that a lot of games are releasing as steaming piles of dog shit and then will become better after release, which is like if you were to be a developer or the business itself, that's pretty bad in terms of press release and PR and any type of, if you wanted to build momentum after that game, it's pretty hard to do that after releasing something horrible. So this is pretty good, pretty big for CD Projekt Red. I bet they're quite happy about this. And yeah. So moving on, the next gaming news we have is the GTA 6 leak. There was a leak within the within Rockstar. It was GTA 6. There's been a few leaks. It was a video before there is any actual texturing or anything. The game is still pretty unfinished if you are able to find the videos, which you might not be able to because Rockstar has been aggressively trying to patch up this, and they're taking legal action against the leaker, against the hacker, is what they're calling him now, the 17-year-old hacker. But yeah, they've been taking aggressive stance against this. They've pretty much wiped it clean off the internet in a sense that it's hard to find without having some sort of like someone being like, hey, this is something I can't put out because Rockstar, they're being a little wild about this. So It's been pretty hard to find the video itself. If you were able to find the video and you watched it beforehand, you probably think the game looks like shit right now, which it does. But, you know, the game is still mostly unfinished, and yeah, Rockstar themselves have received a lot of criticism over how the game looked at the moment from their fans. But at the same time, they've also received a lot of support from other developers and other companies and game studios looking out for them. They've received quite a lot of support, and the comments are, it's usually a lot of Twitter posts, and it's been stuff like recently it was a recent game called Cult of the Lamb. They released a this is what my game looked like before in the early stages of development, and it'll be just like a video of the gameplay before within the early stages of development of the game. And obviously the game doesn't look that good, but these are like games that everyone loves, so it's like it's a little thing where they're trying to prove that whether or not the game looks good right now, it could look good in the future. Overwatch, it's been called that. It is essentially it is a hero shooter style game, and it is also but it's done within the world of the Gundam universe and the Gundam anime. So you get to play as a pilot who is piloting a giant mech suit, and you're usually in teams of 5, and you play out these battles, whether it be a capture the point, or a dominion, or defend the zone, or as some call it, 2CP. Yeah, so the game itself had a weird start where it was pre-released in a sense that it was released a day before for download, but also the game, it wasn't well communicated that the servers were not available on that first day. So during the real so that did have some weary user experiences during that, but the real problems did show up during the real live launch, where many players were experiencing crashes and other issues. Now, I would assume that's because this is a game made that is probably wasn't like supposed to be as hyped up as it was. There wasn't much advertisement. It's not a AAA game in the sense that it's not made by a AAA studio, so the servers might have not been able to handle this kind of load and player and online player activity. So the game obviously is going to have its flaws, and that's the reason I believe that the game was many players were experiencing crashes and other issues. Now, the game itself has it's been a breath of fresh air in the team hero shooter genre, with other big hero shooters would be Apex, Overwatch, Valorant, and Rainbow Six Siege. Overwatch 2 being the next to enter the hero shooter genre in succession of Overwatch. Now, Overwatch 2 has had many issues and criticisms following it to the launch. As of right now, it still has not launched, but the game has had poor advertisement. In most cases, most people have found that it's almost had zero advertisement. I personally have not seen an ad for Overwatch 2 at all, except from on the battle.net thing, which I don't know how well that will play out to bringing new players in, but it should. Hopefully there might be some new players that would be good for the game. And on top of that, the unreleased game has had a lot of controversies, like changing from 6v6 to 5v5, or the fact it has a battle pass now. So it is going to a freemium type of game where the game itself will be free, but there will be a premium version of it, and that will be, and by premium I mean there will be a paid battle pass that you can buy that will help you in a litany of things. Actually, it's quite a lot so far. The battle pass seems to be able to unlock heroes, which before, if you've never played Overwatch, you never had to unlock heroes. Everything that you could earn was cosmetics and cosmetics only. There is nothing other than cosmetics. So now they've added a second element, which is cosmetics and heroes, which would be putting it on to similar status as games like League of Legends, Valorant, and Apex, where you have to pay to unlock a certain hero type. But the difference is Apex is more of a hero shooter. You know, it's not a the game that is most similar to Overwatch would be Valorant, and Valorant is still very gun heavy. It's less based off of the hero you actually play and more based off of the guns and how well you are good at shooting and aiming and all of that. Whereas Overwatch has always been something where the abilities are the biggest part of whether or not you and your team are able to succeed, and the shooting and aiming is somewhat secondary unless you are playing a certain few heroes. So it will be changing up the dynamic. A lot of people are criticizing it in the terms of they don't think that it is going to be fair for someone who does not want to buy the battle pass versus someone who does, because the person who does not buy the battle pass will not be unlocking the hero at level 0, whereas someone who does buy it will be unlocking them at level 0. So it will create a few dynamics where it could happen where you need to play a certain hero and you might not be able to because the game itself has locked that hero behind the battle pass paywall. Now, whether or not you agree with this, it is a very similar system, as I said earlier, to Valorant, League of Legends, Apex, and Rainbow Six Siege. As I said before, the most similar games I would say are Valorant and League of Legends, where in League of Legends there is no shooting, so it's only about your abilities. And then in Valorant it's mostly shooting, but you do have abilities that are very useful. Now, the next piece of news is not really gaming related, as it is more technologically related. So if you were only here for gaming news, then you can click off the video now. You should leave a like and you should subscribe if you did like the gaming news I was able to bring to you. And now I will be talking about the AMD CPU/APU release. So AMD has recently released their new CPU lineup that is based on the all-new architecture of Zen 4, which is a 5 nanometer process. They claim it will prove a 15% uplift to single-threaded workloads over Zen 3, and all the new CPUs will also have a much higher power draw. They will respectively have 100 watts and 100 with 105. Well, no, they will all have over 100 watts and respectively 105 watts for the Ryzen 5 and 7 and 170 watts for the Ryzen 9 CPUs. Now, while technically a win, AMD's improvement can be easily overcome by the competition and even themselves. This has been proven by a few other tech channels on YouTube. When I say that, I mean that it would be very easy for Intel to be able to take the win over AMD once again, as in there's Zen 4 nanometer processing, and that architecture is not that much of an improvement over Zen 3, or even over last gen Intel, or yeah, last gen Intel, as in Intel's going to be releasing their new CPU lineup soon. Um, and even older gen Zen 3s are actually able to outperform the new CPUs, where I think if I believe correctly, it was the Ryzen 7 3650X 3DX that was able to outperform most of the new CPUs. It was trading blows with the Ryzen 9 950X, which is insane to think about, considering that the Ryzen 9 is supposed to be the top dog of the Ryzen series, and the 7 is supposed to be your higher end, middle of the line CPU. And considering that it's a whole generation away, and the types of memory that you have to use, yes, the new CPUs can only use DDR5, unlike Intel, or unlike even older AMD CPUs that use DDR4. Intel allows for both DDR5 and DDR4 depending on your budget. It seems that Intel will, I believe they will probably be allowing this for their next series CPUs as well. And so this, though it is technically a win for AMD, it could still easily be overcome by Intel within the next few days. So just be watching out for that. And if you were looking to buy a CPU, honestly, I would go with a last gen Ryzen still. The platform is dead, so that's something. If you were looking for upgradability, hopefully, I would believe that AMD will keep their word with these new CPUs, but there's no telling. Intel, obviously, their next generation of CPUs will be the end for that motherboard platform. So they will, after that, they will be moving on to another platform architecture. So take it as you will. I personally still have a pretty okay upgrade path in terms of CPUs. So if you are someone that is made a first gen Ryzen or even second gen Ryzen build, you are still able to upgrade to the third gen and see quite a bit of improvement, even improvement that is still better than some of the newer CPUs coming out today. And moving on from that, we have the latest and greatest list of animes for this fall of 2022. So there have been a litany of animes that have been announced for fall of this year. These are just a few. So there's one going to be called, and this is a list, so these are all the animes in a sequential list. And if you want to check them out, just look them up on Crunchyroll, or even, I believe some of them might be on Hulu or Funimation. So there's gonna 4-Win wa Zoro Sori is coming out this year. Akiba Maid, Beast Tamer, Berserk the Golden Age arc, Bleach, Seinen Kensen Hen, Chainsaw Man, Detective Conan, The Culprit Hanazawa, and Eternal Boys. There are quite a few other animes coming out this fall, so be prepared for that. Games coming, and now this is a list of games coming to the Xbox and PlayStation Game Passes, if that's what you want to call them. So we have, for the Xbox, we have Deathloop, Beacon Pine, Slime Rancher, Grounded, Full Release, Valheim, High on Life, Moon Scars, and Spider heck. And for the PlayStation Plus members, your 3 free monthly games will be Hot Wheels Unleashed, Injustice 2, and Super Hot. Again, that is just games that are going to be free for the PlayStation Plus members. That does not mean that they will not be adding more games to the PlayStation catalog. And lastly, but not least, there has been quite a bit of world news recently. The biggest being very much more recently than the Queen, has recently been in Italy. So if you know anything about this, which you probably do because a lot of people have been talking about this news, about this topic recently, it's quite a hotbed because it is very hard to hear. It is very, it's one of those topics that's going to be it's going to make you a little sad. So, in Italy, they have recently elected Giorgiana Meloni, who has been elected as the first woman prime minister. She, on the other hand, is also a fascist. I know people say fascist a lot nowadays, I understand, but historically she is a fascist and she claims to be a fascist. She is part of the neo-fascist party movement called the Brothers of Italy, whose forebearers were called the Italian Social Movement. And if you don't know who the Italian Social Movement is, then just look up Mussolini and see what party he was a part of. So, yeah. Her party is of the pro-natalist and anti-abortion argument and wish to move social funding to Italian-only families in an effort to stop what some might call the Great Replacement Theory, which, if you know or if you've ever heard of that, it is a fascist dogma in terms of where it is a fascist dogma where they use words like they're replacing us, there's no real blank left. There's no real, and then whatever country they're a part of, they will substitute that country's nationality with the blank. So for the Italians, she is saying stuff like, there's no real Italians left. These immigrants aren't real Italians. They're trying to take jobs away from real Italians. They're replacing real Italians. Now, within the last year, her and her party did vote a bill that would categorize violence against the LGBTQ plus members as a hate crime, and it is so that tells you a little bit about her politics other than what she has said, what she has actually done. Many far-right news broadcastings are trying to defend or play down what she stands for by saying she is a woman breaking the glass ceiling, she's the first woman prime minister, shouldn't that be good enough? No, she's not a fascist, you're just making this up. Now, it is completely dangerous. These completely dangerous and false notices are trying to say this is okay and will always be a psychotic notion. This has been Kaz. Until next time, enjoy yourself and stay safe. Love you guys and peace.